I'm having a recording problem, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm going to keep going and see if we can get this thing figured out. All right. On with the program. We're talking about happiness. And one of the things that a lot of people forget about happiness is it just doesn't come up and be within you, right? Happiness is all about what you practice, meaning it's the things and the habits and how you think and what you do. There's so many people out there right now that are living unhappily, and they're living without any happiness because of they're trying to compare themselves. Let's talk about right now, and it's a good time to break away from this and talk about there are, I think, in my opinion, three major things as to why people are unhappy. The first one is they can't get over the past, and that can get broken down into a whole lot of categories. But they can't get over the past. Maybe it could be the passing of someone. It could be a traumatic event. It could be anything around those things that they can't get over and they're stuck, and all they do is focus on that. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. The second one is they still have their childhood programming and they haven't worked on themselves to upgrade their thinking. And the third one is all they can see is negativity in the world and they can't see anything else. And so all they found is negative friends, but they don't know they're attracting negative friends. And then all of this happens, and then we sit down together, and you're like, why am I so unhappy? It's, well, you never hear anything good because all the people you chose as your friends only speak negatively, either about you, about other people, about other things, all of this. And when you're around people that are all negative, you're going to be negative, and your thoughts control your actions, which control your results because your actions control the results. So when we talk through happiness, the first thing you have to know is happiness isn't something you go find. Happiness doesn't come from comparing to others. Happiness doesn't come from any of living in a life of negativity. Happiness isn't going to come from social media of any kind. There is no happiness that shows up like you might think on TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, or any of the other places. Happiness just doesn't show up. You got to go and work on it. Happiness is a practice. It's more of something that you work on because you have to relearn to think. And I know that sounds so goofy and so weird. And right now I probably lost me because you go, that dude's goofy. Well, I'm not. Well, I am goofy. I got a heck of a sense of humor. I digress. My sense of humor is really bad, but I love it. Real happiness is what I want to get through to everybody is real happiness is all about how you view you. That's real happiness. And when I'm talking about, what do I mean with real happiness? The real happiness is when something bad happens, you're still happy. You're just sad about the bad thing that happened, but it doesn't drag you down and keep you down because you already have the right mindset to go forward. So when the world comes a punching, it doesn't bother you and you stay happy. You do the things you have to overcome it, but you don't necessarily stay down. I'm not saying you don't have emotions. I'm not saying you don't have some sort of reaction. We all do. We're all people, for crying out loud. We're all people. But your mindset and how you view something, your perspective plays all these tricks on. And like I mentioned earlier, because I'm not going to mention these again throughout this, is my personal belief is there are three things, right? Those three things being you can't let go of the past. And within that, there's a lot of different things. The second one is you can't get over, what is this? The second one is you can't recover from your childhood programming, meaning that you have childhood programming and you just live by it because that's how you were raised and you haven't challenged yourself to improve yourself. You haven't updated your iOS system, so to speak. And then the last one being is you've chosen negativity as your path, whether willingly or unwillingly. And then you're surrounded nothing but negativity. And then that's all you hear. And then that just pushes you to the world of unhappiness. And you didn't mean to get there. You didn't intend to get there, that's where you end up nonetheless. Let's get back on how do we build solid happiness. What are some things you can do in the matter of? So most happiness comes from expectations. And I want to tread carefully on this because I like expectations and goals, and I'm a big supporter of it. But I don't like easy for me to see, expectations in comparison. And most of the time when you have expectations within comparison, man, am I having trouble saying that, but you understand what I mean. When you are comparing yourself to someone else and that's the expectation that you want in your life, most of the time when you're chasing that crap, you're unhappy as hell. You say to yourself, I'll be happy when the stress is gone. You say to yourself something along the lines of, hey, I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when someone finally appreciates. Why don't you appreciate you? Just saying. Happiness is not conditional. It's not based on one event. Happiness really comes from a sense of peace. And the minute you understand that, you can start to see why these examples and how each of these things I'm going to talk about really can start to impact your life. And you can start to learn to have a happy life. And it doesn't matter about money and stress, all these other things, because you've learned to accept you as you, where you are. And then you can become goal-oriented and start chasing your goals. But your goals can't be in comparison. They're what you want. You don't want to chase a dream of something that is comparing to someone else. No, what's your dream, man? What do you want? Chase that, because then that's how you get what you want. It's your very own path, the path you want to take as an individual. So when you think you're happy, happiness breaks down when you start to resist reality in a way that doesn't let you respond to it because you're in maybe some delusional thought of what you're after. And what I mean by this is that you're resisting reality by not accepting something or not being able to move on past it. And then on top of that, you attach your emotions to outcomes that are not really within your control because, one, completely out of your control, or two, you're not controlling it. Either one, it's the same thing. You're attaching emotions to them, and then the unhappiness comes right. And then another one where happiness gets confused is you attached and you confuse fulfillment, which is a good thing, pleasure. Individually, great things. But feeling fulfilled doesn't necessarily come from things that are always pleasurable. Fulfilled is what you're after. And I'm not a guy that's against pleasure, don't get me wrong. But when you mistake them as to which one is happening to you, your brain gets messed up. Because you think pleasure is something that makes you fulfilled. Oh, it's a great thing, but it isn't fulfilling. And that fulfillment is what breeds more and more happiness, more success, etc. So that's why that piece is important. So here's a shift in thought, maybe a way for you to wake up into reality of how you can now change your life to become way more happy than you've ever been. And that's by listening to this very thing. Happiness does not come to you. Happiness isn't something that happens to you. Happiness is something that you create. You create through meaning, habits, and perspective. Meaning, habits, and perspective. That's where happiness comes from, because now you're understanding how things are created through your brain and work through your entire system. Your brain's always asking, what does it mean? And remember, the meaning you give something determines your emotion. Your emotion determines your action determines your results. Your stress level is tied to that. Your happiness is tied to that. And the crazy thing is two people can be in the exact same situation, everything the same that happens to them. And why is one happy and one miserable? The meaning they gave things. When you look at all of this together and you're like, all right, I'm understanding what you're saying. But what the hell do I do about it? Well, here's what you do. You focus on your mindset so that you can focus on your actions and you can control the emotions and the meaning that are given to things. Because if you control the meaning, so you know what your mindset is, if something happens to you and you go right into negative thoughts constantly, and then you go talk to all your negative friends all the time, you're just going to come right back into the honest, happy zone. But if you can control and change that and change your perspective into understanding what's really going on, because we all have complicated lives, but we all still can be happy. One of the fastest ways to impact yourself on this is letting go of the opinions of others, letting go on the reactions of others, letting go on the influence of others. Another big one, probably the biggest, let go of the past. It's done. It's in the rear view. The past is done. Live in the now and what's next. All you have control of is the now and the what's next. No matter what anyone says about that past, no matter what everyone says about what's already happened, you only have control over what's now, what's next, what's happening within your world right now, and where are you trying to head. And if you're like, I don't know what's happening and I don't know where I'm headed, you better pay attention, because you better know this stuff, because that's directly linked to happiness. Money ain't happiness. How many people you know filthy rich and they're unhappy as can be? No, happiness is tied to expectations. And expectations are tied most of the time to comparing yourself with others. And that is not how you do it. There's one other one that I want to mention is people want to, what's the right word I'm looking for? Sabotage themselves, because all they can think of all the future problems of what's going to happen. And then they're not happy, even though they've had success. Now that this happens, all this is going to happen. Like one of my favorites on that are where people get all mad they made a lot of money. Like, man, taxes are good. Kill me, man. You're paying taxes a lot more because that means you're making a ton more money. Holy crap, you should be happy. No, it's dead and bitter. Kill me, man. That one always makes me laugh. Happiness grows when your energy is more on influence, more on influencing yourself. It's not about others. It comes directly from you. It's about influencing yourself so that you can take the moment to respond correctly, so that you can take the moment and assess what's going on. When you're just reacting in life, you're not in control of what's happening. In life, you're not in control of what's happening on the outside world, but you control what's happening to you. You have control of that. You have control of what you're going to say and do. You have control over what you're going to feel. Now, initially, it might hit you and you may have these huge feelings that come out, but you can go, wait a second, I'm overreacting. Let me think about this. These moments are you influencing you. I've talked about this quite a bit in the past on other topics, but they all meld together. You know, gaining confidence in yourself, understanding about how you can be goal-oriented and succeed within those goals, how you go about proving yourself. I mean, they all lead to the same thing, just in a little bit different dynamics within each of them. And all of them really come down to you. What are you choosing? The power of choice is so amazing. It's right in front of us all the time, even when it doesn't feel like it. It is. When you ask yourself why this is happening to me, it's the start of the wrong way to think. I would rather you say, how can I learn from this? Or how can I use this in order to grow as a person? In order to learn how to do something different in any way possible that you can come up with. When you're going through any type of pain or stress or insecurity, that really should end up, it won't always, but it should end up being a strength. It should make you stronger. And it goes like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yes, there's a lot of truth into that. And let's talk about like that pain and that stress. When pain and stress happens to you, you have two ways to go about it. And the first way to go about it is it can become and cause you to have strength. And the second way to look at it is it's all suffering. When you have these things and you haven't attached the right meaning to it, the difference is huge. You have growth and learning and suffering. I think I want the learning, happiness side. And I know it doesn't feel like it for some of you, but you have a choice on this. And I know in life, you do not have control of everything. I understand. But you have the control over what everything means to you. Now let's talk about some things because inputs are important. What are you listening to? How are you deciding things? I was just with my niece and I just was doing all this hand stuff of 6'7" that made me laugh. So there's some things that you have to do so that will help you so that you can stay in the right mind frame. And you have to control these inputs, these things going into your head, news and social media, all that stuff. They are doing things on purpose to get into your own head. And those algorithms are all made in such a way that are exposing you as to what you're interested in. And all that negativity is going to keep piling it. Because if that's what you're interested in, that's what's going to keep going. Negative, 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 negative. Boom. And where you're left, unhappy, frustrated, and sad and dejected. Conversations you have with people. Watch yourself. Because if all you're doing is bitching, complaining, well, guess what's going to be happening? You won't be happy. And a really important one is, how are you talking to yourself inside your mind? Are you constantly going, oh, you dumbass, or why am I such an idiot, or oh my God, I can't believe I did this? What are the things you are saying to yourself? Be nice to yourself. Change that behavior first. All right. And this is a way to do it. Instead of saying, Dave, you're such an idiot, you can say, all right, what can I learn from this? What can I use from this to make me not do it again or make me understand why I'm doing it so that I can not do it anymore, or I can do it better, or I can improve, or make me understand the things that's going to motivate me in order to work on it. Because most things, it takes practice and effort so you can get good. Happy people do protect their environment and their inputs. And that's why some people just choose to walk away from conversations. That's why some people just choose not to get involved. And that's okay. You should too. There's a balance in this because there's debate, and debate's healthy. Debate's very healthy. And you can be part of that debate by controlling your emotions and just trying to seek to understand. I have all kinds of episodes and videos on that. But when they're all nothing but negative and attacks, that's not a debate. That's someone just trying to put you in your place or convince you or embarrass you or bully you into a view. You walk away. Why do you even need to try and convince that person of whatever you feel? How you feel's got nothing to do with them. Because internally, when you know where you're at peace. You're not trying to make a point. Sometimes little things can make a big difference in happiness. We get so worked up and we can be scrolling on our phones for so long that we forget that movement is essential. We need movement to be happy. We need to be able to go out for walks, exercise, read books and challenge our brains, do things that have small wins, do a project, maybe clean up the entire bathroom so it's spotless that day. Making sure that little things can happen. Small wins like making your bed, doing dishes. Small wins like cleaning your kitchen, completely reorganizing the drawers. Little things like that in your own home that can be simple. Little things like that can really help. But move, baby, move. So my point on that is just take action. Your actions come from your emotions. Right? So when your emotion happens, you're going to act. And your emotions, if you think upward, come from your thoughts. So you have to change the meaning you give something to think differently so that you have the right emotion to have the right actions so you can start to be happy. So let's summarize all this. Happiness is not something that you just have to go and earn later. Happiness is not something that is just a destination. Once I make enough money, I'm finally going to be happy. No. Happiness is not reserved for the rich. No. If that were true, why are there so many rich people so miserable? When you see someone having an easier life, it may not be what you think. See, the outward appearance of things can be different than what it's truly like. So the happiness of comparison is never the way to go. It is built by you taking ownership in you understanding what meaning you're applying to things so that your actions are appropriate. Happiness comes from you focusing on how you want to be every single day. And it's got nothing to do with others. And the more you sit there and go, yes, it does. It has to do with this and that. You haven't got it yet. I can't help you. Once you get it, I can. You don't need a new life. Look at it this way. You just need a new relationship with yourself. And I believe in you because there's only one of you. There's only one of you. That's how special every single person in this world is. We all have our problems. We all have our differences. We all have things that are important to us. We all have strengths and weaknesses that are not the same. But the one thing we all have in common is we can choose to control the meaning we give things. We can choose to pursue happiness. It's not given. It's not earned. It's practiced. I hope all this has made sense to you. I hope that you, when you see this video, if you're not happy today, you start to learn to be happy because it's way more fun in life when you are happy. And that's all I got for you. See y'all later.